are new details about a local father whose sheriff's deputies say that was shot to death by his children's grandmother. It's a murder that has shocked this upscale Fallbrook community.
In a shocking and disturbing incident caught on camera, a grandmother is seen celebrating the murder of her own son in front of police officers. The footage has gone viral and sparked outrage online, with many questioning the woman's mental state and the circumstances that led to this shocking behavior. In this video, we'll examine the details of the incident and discuss the potential motives behind the grandmother's actions. This is the story of Cynthia Cdebaca, a 63-year-old grandmother and wife who kept a dark secret hidden from her loved ones. Cynthia suffered a stroke and was permitted by her daughter Laura to reside in their guest house to recover and live close to the family. However, the living conditions in the guest house were far from comfortable, as Cynthia was staying with a troubled and unhappy family in their expensive California home.
My brother would tell me that she didn't approve of the way he disciplined the kids. On the other hand, my brother didn't approve the way she would discipline his kids.
Jeward, the husband of Laura, had a reputation of being amiable and sociable. However, unbeknownst to most people, he was a severe and forceful father who believed in the concept of tough love. Under this guise, he would subject his family to both verbal and physical abuse, and would even destroy his children's toys as a form of punishment when they misbehaved.
My Aunt Cindy would be on the back patio smoking because she wasn't allowed to smoke in the house. And he would be out there watering, and he would see, oh, where I see smoke, I see fire. Gotta put out the fire, and he would hose my aunt down with the hose.
During a moment of extreme anger, Jeward disposes of Cynthia's late husband's ashes. Despite this and other troubling behavior, the family tolerated Jeward's actions for some time. However, things took a terrifying turn when Cynthia acquired a firearm and waited for her opportunity to use it. On her 62nd birthday, just before leaving her granddaughter's spelling bee, Jeward made a statement that pushed Cynthia over the edge.
Says you can't go like that because it looks like you're ghetto in this.
Shortly after, a series of gunshots rang out in the neighborhood. 5 at first, followed by 5 more, and then another 5. Later, Jeward's lifeless body was discovered on the kitchen floor, riddled with a dozen bullet holes. Meanwhile, Cynthia calmly went to a nearby Denny's to order breakfast, then proceeded to celebrate her birthday at a casino, without showing any signs of remorse for the heinous crime she had just committed. Despite her nonchalant behavior, Cynthia was quickly identified as a prime suspect due to her troubled history with Jeward. Police apprehended her at a coffee shop mere hours after the murder, but as a sweet old grandma, she appeared an unlikely culprit, and it seemed that with a few lies and some acting, she could potentially walk away a free woman.
Well, unfortunately, Laura's husband has passed away.
Huh?
We're going to ask you some questions. We're going to ask you some questions because we're trying to figure out what happened today, okay?
All right.
Upon the realization that she was unlikely to receive any awards, she eventually ceased the charade, and her tears transformed into contempt.
What did you think of him? Okay, why do you say that?
That's the big thumbs down. You didn't like him.
After some time, Cynthia was able to speak again and revealed to the detectives the extent of the abuse that her family had suffered due to Jeward's actions. She recounted instances of him spraying his family with water, verbally attacking his children, and even choking his wife. Though Cynthia had previously expressed her dislike for Jeward, the detectives were still taken aback by what happened next.
Anybody try to stop him?
Can't stop him.
It sounds like somebody had to stop him, or
I did. I did.
Okay.
I was guilty.
Okay. Somebody had to stop him.
I did.
Okay, it's okay.
Is he dead?
You tell me.
Gotta be dead.
You think he's dead?
I hope so.
Immediately after Cynthia admitted her guilt, she proceeded to give a chilling account of the gruesome events without any delay.
You got your gun from your purse, and then what happened?
Went and shot him. Wasn't enough.
Subsequently, it was discovered that Cynthia had undergone shooting lessons at a nearby gun range a few weeks prior to the incident, using the same firearm she had bought to kill Jeward. This further implies that the murder was premeditated, Although it's not typical for premeditated killings to be carried out with such detachment, as they're usually driven by intense emotion and a strong desire to take the victim's life.
Did you check to see if he was dead?
I didn't care.
Despite committing murder, Cynthia appeared indifferent to the gravity of her actions. She went out to enjoy her birthday with breakfast, gambling, and coffee, seemingly unconcerned about the consequences of her crime. When asked if she felt any remorse, Cynthia showed no signs of regret.
You don't feel bad about it?
No.
Would you do it again?
Yes. Is he dead?
He's dead, man.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh boy, oh boy.
In under 10 minutes of questioning, Cynthia went from denying any involvement in Geoward's murder to confessing and even celebrating it. Detectives then determined it was time to end the investigation. Cynthia's family was allowed to come in to say their final goodbyes. It was at this moment that they fully grasped the horror of the situation they were living in, an experience that nobody should ever have to endure.
Oh God, oh, I didn't have to do that. I wanted to. Oh my God.
As Laura cried out in unbearable pain, Cynthia remained seated, displaying a sense of satisfaction for her heinous actions. Despite being asked to bid a final farewell to her granddaughter, Cynthia's refusal to enter the room highlighted the extent of the damage she had inflicted upon the family, cementing her status as a heartless and unapologetic killer.
Oh, honey. Oh. Come kiss me, please.
No, you killed my dad.
Cynthia's reputation as a ruthless grandmother with a penchant for killing was reinforced by her response to the detective's suggestion that she pray for a fair outcome in the justice system.
Whoever you pray to, you make sure that
I don't
you
pray to anybody.
call as a higher power.
I prayed today.
Okay.
First time ever prayed.
What'd you pray for?
Hope he dies.
Oh boy.
The trial of Cynthia Cdebaca began 3 years after the shooting of Geoward Eustachio. The main focus of the trial was to determine whether the murder was premeditated and if it was justifiable despite the fact that it was clear that Cynthia had killed Geoward. The prosecution argued that Cynthia had premeditated the murder by purchasing a gun used in the killing a few weeks before and practicing at a shooting range. In addition, during the interrogation, Cynthia had made statements that supported the case against premeditation.
13 years I wanted to go get him. I was devastated.
It was difficult to argue that the homicide was justifiable in light of Cynthia's claims that Geoward was both a verbal and physical abuser. The defense attempted to argue that Cynthia acted in an act of passion or rage to protect her family from the man who was allegedly destroying it. Geoward's wife Laura also supported this argument. The interrogation tape was used to dismantle the case, and a decision was made a few weeks later.
This is a tragedy. I love my mom. I love Geoward. There's no win here, not for anyone. It's just complete sadness.
At the age of 65, Cynthia Cdebaca was given a 50-year prison sentence, essentially condemning her to spend the remainder of her life incarcerated. This would undoubtedly force her to bear the burden of her deeds for the rest of her days, until the end of her life. Was there any possibility of reducing her sentence or granting her parole? How does the justice system approach cases involving elderly offenders? If you have answers to such harrowing questions, let us know in the comments below.